what I'm going to start to contour my face is I really enjoy the Smashbox step-by-step contour sticks. It comes in 3 different shades: the contour, bronzer, and highlighter. Although the highlighter for me to use under the eye seems a little thick in consistency, I do use it for other parts of my face, and I prefer to use concealer, lighter shade, for concealing and highlighting at the same time. And the bronzer, I use it not all the time, but I will be using it in this tutorial. And this is definitely my favorite. As you can see, I've actually used up quite a bit. So I'm gonna start off with my face. The purpose for me to contour and highlight, just basically because once I've added my foundation, it definitely makes me look one-dimensional. So the purpose for contouring is just to bring back those natural hollows and contours that you already have on your features. I'm gonna go in with the contour part and basically just sucking in my cheekbones and looking for that hollowness, which usually starts at about the top of the ear and where that hollowness is. I'm just going to do it and stop halfway. And they do the same thing to the other side, and I definitely want to stop halfway. I don't want to bring it in any lower. Dragging it down can make your cheeks look a little bit droopy, can age you, so you definitely want to keep it halfway. Another place that I like to contour is at the bottom of my lip, to give me just the illusion of a poutier mouth. I definitely do my nose. And I definitely like to chisel my jawline. Other people do like to do their foreheads, especially if you have a more prominent forehead. I do recommend you to do that. Kind of close in what it creates is shadows on your forehead that closes it in, and creates a shadow of a smaller, less prominent forehead. I, on the other hand, don't have that problem, but because I'm bringing in color and shadows and highlights to this portion of my face, I definitely want to bring it to the top just to even it out. Also doing the same thing to my neck. I have brought in the contour down, and I will bronze it up just to have it match. Under my eyes, I like to go in with a yellow shade of contour. Yellow is a brightening effect shade. I've already concealed my under eye with my creamy concealer Nars, but to highlight, there's 2 items I like to use. The Prep+Prime from MAC Highlighter Light Boost, and the other one I like to use, and because it's a cheaper alternative, it's the NYX HD Concealer, and this one's in the shade yellow. So for this, I'm going to use the NYX one. What I am highlighting are all the areas that I want to bring forward. So the shadows are kind of creating dimension and contours, while the highlighting brings all your features forward. So anything that you want to emphasize and bring forward, that's where you would highlight. Definitely my forehead, the bridge of my nose, the Cupid's bow. I like to highlight the corner of my mouth just because there's always some darkness in that area, so I like to brighten it up. And your chin, or my chin, not your chin, my chin. I am going to go in with a dense brush. This one's from BH Cosmetics. It's an angled brush, and I find this to be the perfect tool for me to blend out the contour. I feel like this gives me the control and buffs it out to where there is no harsh line, so that's why I really enjoy using this. You can use the beauty blender. I feel this to me is a perfect tool, and it's really just patting motions that I'm doing. I'm making sure to keep that contour in that specific area that I placed it and not bring it down or bring it too high. I just want to keep it in that hollowness. Just going on my jawline, I'm just going in circular motions. I want to make sure that I drag this down, eliminate any harsh lines, just buff it all out. Now to buff out my highlight, I do like the beauty blender, and I'm just using the pointy side. Just to eliminate any harsh lines that may appear between my contours, I'm just gonna go lightly with a dual fiber brush, and this one's from the Real Techniques line, and just lightly buff out those edges. Now to go in with my nose, I like to use for my nose the Real Techniques. I think this is a brow brush. It's an angular. I definitely like this for the preciseness that it gives me. Now the same purpose or the same effect goes with your nose. The idea is that you're creating shadows along the sides of your nose. The closer you bring the shadow, the narrower your nose will be. The wider you bring in the shadows, the wider your nose will be. The highlight will be right in the center of your nose, so that will bring it forward and create the illusion of a straighter, narrower nose. Want to connect it just a slight bit to my eyebrows. And the same thing to the other side. At the tip of the nose, a lot of people like to create different types of noses. The most common one is to create the illusion of a button nose, and the way you would do that is to round out the bottom of your nose and then add a slight little line on the top. Make sure you blend it out, highlight right in the middle, and that would give you a button nose. For my nose, I feel that I have a few things that I am focusing on that I don't like about my nose, so I am specifically have tried many ways to do it, and this is what I've came out with that I like the best. So what I do is I cut off the tip. I've added the contour straight across, and I brought it to the little part of my nose that kind of sticks out. I hate that. Always hated that. So I'm creating shadow there. And just kind of slightly fade it out to around my nostrils. But yeah, I definitely cut off my nose. I feel that personally I have a long nose, so I like to cut it off slightly and create the illusion of a shorter nose. I'm going in with a small dual fiber and just kind of blending out the same thing, some of those harsh lines, smoothing out the edges very lightly, light hand, just a tad bit. I don't want to do too much or else we eliminate all that hard work of contouring our face. Now we're not done yet. I am going to use the bronzing shade. Bronzer is just a sun-kissed glow to your face. All I'm gonna do is just add a little bit just to add some color, and this is exactly what I bring to my forehead just to give me a little more bronze and even out what I am creating in this area. And I'm also bringing it to the top. So I'm just gonna slightly just bring it all around my hairline, and then slightly to that same area where I contoured and stopped there. And just slightly bring it to the bottom on my neck. Going back to that same brush I was using before, that buffer, I'm just going to very lightly just blend it all out. Make sure that there are no harsh lines. I'm going to do the same motions here on my cheekbones. It's just patting motions, and the same around my hairline, just dabbing motions, dabbing. It's kind of blend it all out and just added a tiny bit of color. And the same thing to the other side. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first go in with my Laura Mercier brightening powder, and this one I just like to use to set my under eye, and I'm just going to set that underneath, or set the concealer under my eyes. For the rest of my face, I am going to use a translucent powder, but sometimes I do use a mattifying foundation powder, as long as it's light, because you've already added a layer of product. You don't want to cake on too much product. So anything that's light, or just adding and just lightly patting the powder, the product on your face. You go out without setting your cream contour and highlight. What's gonna happen is once your natural oils come out, it'll just become a slippery mess on your face and kind of melt off. We definitely want to set and keep this for a longer period of time. This is also a way to make your contour last longer throughout a special event, is you go in with cream contour and then you set it with powder and go in with your powder over it. So I am just going to go in with the Lorac Pro Contour palette, and use the brush that it came with. Looks like that. And then just lightly, because I don't want to add too much, but just lightly, and tap off the excess. Go over the same areas that I contoured with cream. I like to keep the dual fiber handy, the same one we used earlier, and just make sure that we blend that out and there are no harsh lines. And same thing to the other side. Another reason why I like this powder so much is because of the tones of the powders. They have like the perfect tones to create that natural shadow. Just using the dual fiber now. And I'm just going to slightly go over that cream contour on my nose. Just buffing it out, making sure that it's all blended out. That's the idea to any makeup look, contour, is to blend it out. The more you take the time to blend, the more everything looks more natural and so flawless. I'm just bringing it to anywhere else that I cream contour, chiseling out the jawline. I'm also going to use the highlighting powders on this palette and just add it over the powder that we've already added under the eye, and just to brighten it a little bit more. You don't have to do this since we've already set it with that previous powder. I definitely want to bring it to my nose, my forehead, and everywhere else I highlight it. The next thing is to bronze up your face. Again, I'm going to use this little palette, the Park Avenue Princess from Tarte. I'm going to use this shade. I use it on this angled blush brush and literally just again buff this onto the areas that we bronzed up before. I'm going to bring it also to the bottom of my neck. Again, want to eliminate dragging the product down too low. Once you've added the amount of product that you wanted to add and you're content with everything, again, I'm going to go in with my dual fiber and just blend any harsh lines. You want to clean this. I don't want to go directly where I did it. I just want to go around to avoid any harsh lines. Now, if you feel that at one point you put maybe too much bronzer or contour, you could go in with that dual fiber and buff it out a little bit. The dual fiber is a good tool to have handy because it doesn't take off too much product. It doesn't also apply too much product. So it gives you just the right amount to take off or apply without going overboard and having to redo and go back in and do the same steps again. I really like to use dual fibers. If you're really trying to chisel out your cheekbone, then I recommend this method and leaving it on for as long as possible. I'm just going to buff it out with that dual fiber. It gave me more of a clean line than before. I'm going to use that same palette that I was using, the Park Avenue. I'm going to use this tapered brush. I'm going to highlight the tops of my cheeks. This gives you just like the right amount of glow and definitely emphasizes your cheekbones. I definitely like to keep it in the outer areas I do bring it in on my down the bridge of my nose, the tip of my nose, and on my cupid's bows. I'm just gonna use the same palette and go in with that blush. Just right at the apples. You want to smile to make sure you apply it at the top of your cheekbones and not drag it too low. So I'm going in with my dual fiber and just blending all that out. I'm just gonna set this with my MAC Fix Plus. So this is the completed look for my contour and highlight. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.